Well, hello and welcome to the Profit Express. I'm Tim Healy, and I'm inviting you to join me each and every Wednesday so you could be prepared to win the battle for business. That's right. Now listen, I know you're out there. You're closing deals. You're making money. You're turning prospects into profits. That's why I've got to make it worth your while. And that's why I have on the kinds of guests that you can listen, learn, and earn from. Today's guest is no exception. So as always, thanks for sharing some of your time with me today. Thanks for being on board the Profit Express. And a special thanks to our sponsor, Corbett Public Relations, where they've been promoting and protecting businesses and brands for over 30 years. So hey, visit Bill and his team at CorbettPR.com. That's CORBETTPR.com. Welcome aboard, everybody. Now, of course, you know the Profit Express is all about helping you win the battle for business. And let's face it, you can spend an entire lifetime building a super successful, lucrative career. You can spend an entire lifetime building a highly successful business. But at the end of the day, if you want to live the life that you've always dreamed of for yourself and your family, you need to be financially fit. And that's why I've got some very, very exciting news for you today on the Profit Express. I am announcing the kickoff of the 2022 Financial Fitness Series. That's right. It's all to help you get in control of your finances so you can live the life you've always dreamed. Now, as excited as I am to announce the 2022 Financial Fitness Series, I'm also super excited to announce our financial expert. And that would be none other than Anthony DeAngelo. He's the president and founder of Lionheart Wealth Management, and they're an independent wealth management and investment advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial. So when I decided to have the Financial Fitness Series, I knew he was the man for the job. So it's a great pleasure to welcome back to the Profit Express, Anthony DeAngelo. Anthony, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Tim. It's good to be back on. We've been planning this for a bit, so I'm glad that we're making it happen.
Well, it's funny. So your first appearance on the show was October of last year, and I got to be honest, we've talked a few times in between. You got a really good response. We had a lot of people liking the show, following it, sending us comments, and then you and I started to talk, and I just felt that as much as we talk about building businesses and creating wealth, it's about protecting that wealth and allowing that wealth to do what it should do for you, for your family into the future. And that's why I thought, hey, you know what? Let's do this Financial Fitness Series. And here we are.
It'll be great. Listen, everyone's working very hard, and I think you owe it to yourself to make sure that your money and your savings is working equally as hard in the background for you. But it takes some level of effort, and that's why we want to kick things off to make sure that everyone knows what it means to be financially fit and what their options are, to make sure that they have the tools and the information to make the best decisions.
So let's kick this off then, Anthony, because listen, the world of finance can be intimidating for certain people, even for business owners, even for professionals, for lawyers and for doctors, right? So I like to kind of start off maybe demystifying some of it, bringing some clarity to some of the definitions that are out there. So when you talk about a financial plan, we've all heard about that. You see it on ads. Let's start with that definition. How do you define a financial plan?
So, what I'm excited about is that it's good that you're seeing advertisements and that you're seeing ads for financial plans, because that means that more and more companies are starting to offer a financial planning service. Mm-hmm. So, I guess historically, when you were talking about your finances, you were typically kind of talking about maybe one or two accounts. So it could be an IRA or a 401k that you're having a conversation with your plan provider, and you're getting advice on that plan on its own, right? Or you're working with a financial advisor who's managing some of your capital, and you're talking about the investments in that account that's being managed for you. Financial planning brings it all together. You're not getting advice on one account. You're getting advice on everything in your world that has a dollar sign.
Mm.
And it's aligning with Ameriprise last year. It really the focus for the company for Ameriprise, and I think that's why Ameriprise gets a lot of they get a lot of accolades for client retention. So clients wanting to stay with the company, loyalty, and also just trust. And I
Hmm.
think it's because their main focus is on comprehensive financial planning. So that's what we'll talk about some more through the series. Is what does it look like to go through a financial planning process, a comprehensive plan?
So as you're describing this, Anthony, and I'm listening to you as the typical investor myself. I'm certainly no financial expert. I'm just a talking head behind the Profit Express. But you said we I'm paraphrasing you. We track everything in your life that has a dollar sign. That to me stood out. That's like nothing goes unseen, basically, is what I'm hearing.
And you owe it to yourself to make sure that nothing is unseen, because everything that you've accumulated in your financial world, it has value. And what winds up happening. So the way that I kind of look at building a financial plan, it's
Hmm.
similar to a blueprint for a property.
Right.
It's you're not going to break ground and start construction on a home or really do any serious home renovation without a blueprint or a guide to get you there.
Sure.
And what winds up happening within the financial world is that you pick up a 401k through your company, if you're lucky enough to have a company that has a 401k plan, or
Hmm.
you contribute to an IRA account. And then you pick up some different stocks or mutual funds. It could be a college savings plan. And what winds up happening is you start to build your property, you start to build your break ground of construction without an actual plan as to how you want everything to work in the long run.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's what you wind up getting with going through a financial plan and an assessment, is that you're going to figure out exactly, what are your objectives? What are you really targeting? And now how do I take everything that I've already done and make sure that it's organized in the way that's going to provide the best outcome?
Okay, so here's the great analogy then. So you have all these individual pieces, but the plan is really the foundation kind of bringing it all together.
Yes.
Awesome.
And listen,
Awesome.
it's incredible what you can do on a strong foundation. So I lived in Manhattan for about a decade. I loved living in the city, watching all these big skyscrapers come up. And
Right.
I watched the Freedom Tower basically built from like nothing, just the actual foundation being
Right.
poured.
Right.
But what I found really interesting was that pouring a foundation for a building could take 9, 10, not 9 months to like a year, over a year to actually pour and let a foundation set.
Right.
And after the foundation set, these buildings would have 30, 40 floors off the ground within 3, 4 months. It was incredible.
Right.
But what that put into perspective for me was how high you can build and how far you can go with a strong foundation. And so that's why I think too that taking the time to actually create the foundation and pour the cement in your financial plan can go a long way.
All right. So we started with some good visuals, some good analogies of a financial plan, a comprehensive financial plan. And now the next thing I want to kind of talk about and make sure the listeners have an understanding, people know or have an idea of what a financial advisor is, of course. But then we've again, through advertising, which is good because it's out there, we've heard of the term, a fee-based financial advisor. We've heard of terms like fiduciary. There's a lot of things that I think a lot of people might not really understand. So can you kind of unwrap that for us?
Yeah, I mean, when you're working on a fee basis, it's just, I mean, I think the most important thing, whether when it comes to working with a fiduciary or any kind of financial advisor, it's just this
Mm-hmm.
disclosure of what you're paying for, and how your advisor is being compensated and how the recommendations are coming about. That's the most important component,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
again, a lot of advisor work as a fiduciary. That means they take on an obligation legally to put your interests ahead of their own. And again, you can get very good financial advice from a fiduciary. Other advisors won't work as in a fiduciary capacity, but they're working in your best interest. And that means that they are disclosing all of the information that's relevant for you in making a financial decision. And again, many of these advisors are, they do have your best interests at heart and they want to make sure you're getting into the right plan. I just think that the conversation that I'm having this year, it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
pointing to the fact that not everyone understood that they can pay and have a financial plan drawn up on that covers all their assets and objectives. I think, so common. I get on the phone with someone to talk about financial planning and they're saying, what's your asset minimum? How much money do I have to invest with you for you to help me with my finances? And basically I'm saying, listen, you don't need an investment minimum. You can actually hire us as a consultant in our practice. And there's so many really great advisors working this way throughout the US that you can find somebody who will work with you as a consultant and help you without having to send your life savings over to for them to manage for you. You can actually get financial advice and consulting work done for a fee.
So this is interesting. And again, as the average, typical investor myself, not knowing much about finance. So how it used to be done, if I'm hearing you, is people say, okay, I want to open up an account. What are the minimums? But what you're saying, and I want to make sure I understand this because I think this is a really important point. Instead of having that as the starting point, let's design a plan first, and then you make the right decisions as to how much and where it should go.
Exactly right. And if you think about it too, it just makes more sense to operate that way. It makes more sense to have a plan designed first before you go out and make different investments, because you just, again, like all investments should have an objective. It doesn't make any sense to take a dart and throw it against the wall. You need a dartboard and a target to shoot for, so you know where things are supposed to go. So that's the purpose of having a financial plan and going through that process, is that when you set your investments up, exactly when you're getting compensated where money should be going and why. So, and again, yeah.
No, so let's go back to the financial advisor. So should somebody who's looking to start a relationship with a financial advisor, should they ask or make the distinction to ask, are you a fiduciary? Are you fee-based? What should they ask for?
Yeah, I think asking questions about how they're going to operate and work. Again, are you going to work in a fiduciary capacity? Are you going to work in my best interest? Those are good questions to ask.
Okay.
When engaging with a financial advisor. And the truth is, the more transparent the financial advisor is about these different, about fiduciary role, about best interest, about this just disclosure on what they're offering, I think that's when you get to know a lot more about your financial advisor's character that way, and the way that they're going to operate throughout your relationship. If they're talking at a very high level in ways that you can't understand, that's probably a red flag up front that they're not going to take the time to educate you. I think that the advisors who are going to take the time to explain the processes, explain the different options, explain what a fiduciary is going to be versus working in your best interest, because both could certainly work for any investor. I think again, having the dialogue, which more and more people are asking me those questions now, which is showing me that, people are taking the time to go online and do research about how to engage with a financial advisor before hiring somebody.
Which is,
and I think that's a pivotal shift that's happening right now. And again, even with the fee-based financial planning, I can't tell you how many people in the last year alone have said, "Oh, I didn't even know that you could do that. I didn't know that was a service that was offered from financial services companies that I can pay for advice. I thought I had to have an account with the financial institution."
Yeah, this is pretty good. So this is the 2022 Financial Fitness Series here on the Profit Express with Anthony DeAngelo, owner and president and founder of Lionheart Wealth Management. And Anthony, I'm already starting to feel smarter about my finances talking to you. That's a good thing.
I think we can go this whole program. If you're not learning something from this program,
serious.
We really did something wrong.
No, I'm really. It's like you're great at creating visuals, and I'm a visual learner. That's why I'm really connecting so far. So, all right. So here's my next thing. So again, we're calling this the Financial Fitness Series, and something that we can all relate to. Everybody knows the importance. You got to see your primary care doctor once a year. You got to go on your wellness visit, right? You have an idea or a concept of having your financial well visit. It's a great analogy. Explain why it's so important.
Well, think about it. You have an objective when you go to the doctor's office once a year. You're crossing your fingers that all your labs come out well, but your objective is to be healthy, to feel good, to live long, to live a long, healthy life, right? That's your objective. when you think about your finances, you have goals and objectives for your finances as well. You want, I think the most common goal, because our clients, we have hundreds of clients, and everyone has different wrinkles to their financial plans and their objectives, just different things that are important to them.
Sure.
And so everyone has those goals and we'll talk about that during, I think, our next episode. We'll talk about goal setting. But everyone has different wrinkles on their financial objectives and goals. But the common theme is that our clients, and really kind of all of us that are working and saving, we're trying to get to a level of financial independence. Or if we're there already, we're trying to maintain financial independence. So financial independence is basically having the assets saved that you need to support your lifestyle and your life, really across the board, your housing, your medical, your vacations, any family obligations that you have. When you're financially independent, it means that you don't have to work. You don't have to work to earn your paycheck. That you basically can work by choice at that point.
Sure.
So, so everyone's working to achieve this financial independence. And that's really what our well visits are all aimed at, seeing where we are on that track towards that financial independence. And here's the situation, just like going to a doctor's visit. So I'm sure, Tim, you're a health nut. You eat meticulously. You're always really, again, like, every time we talk, you're about to go on a run or you're going to the gym or something.
That's true. Yes.
When you go to the doctor's office, it's probably a layup. Like, that you're going to get a prognosis. You're going to get good labs back. You're going to feel good about it. But when I go to the doctor's office, it's always a bogey on cholesterol. That's one thing for me that I just never know where it's actually going to land. Like, where are we going to be this year with cholesterol? But there's something that you can do about it, right? So number one is when you identify that, hey, you have high cholesterol, there's something you can do. You can, over a course of time, diet and exercise and hope to come back with better results.
Right.
If that's not the situation, if you come back and the results aren't better, they can put you on medication to reduce your cholesterol. So you can, again, like when you go to the doctor's office and you get that information, you now know what kind of path to go on to make sure that you are fixing that you fix this situation. Same is true with financial independence. You can, if you're not on track for your goal for retirement, or again, having the capital that you need, you can budget yourself. You can say, hey, listen, during the next 6 months, I need to fix this. I want to set myself on a course, and I'm going to find out exactly how much money I can save, and I can cut out subscriptions and put a system in place to get money going into the right places. That's one step. If you come back in a year and that's not working, you can reconfigure your investment portfolio. You can decide that you're going to retire a couple years later. You can decide that you're going to scale back your lifestyle in retirement to make sure that you can reach that objective. But at the end of the journey, you're going to get to the point where you're going to retire. And it's just a matter of, again, like putting yourself in the best position each year to make it the most comfortable experience that it can be, when you decide that you're not going to work anymore.
So then it's really, if you have the right financial advisor, you're having that once a year, finance wellness checkup, if you will, to make sure your cholesterol hasn't gone too crazy off the charts, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, your doctor's telling you that you have to stop eating so much baked ziti. But here's the situation as well. There's so much information on do it yourself as well that it's healthy to give yourself an assessment. There's financial tools that are available and that are accessible that you can utilize. It's just taking the time out each year to just get a good baseline of where your numbers are and where your target should be. So many of the people that hire us now, they are do-it-yourselfers through and through. They just want the information that they need to check for each year, and they are on their way. And if they want to check in from time to time, they could always come back and we can just assess how everything has gone, over a year, 2 years, whatever it might be. The key is, I think, listen, a great financial advisor in your corner, I think is certainly a valuable asset. But I also believe that really, even if you're doing it yourself, that you can do a really good job for yourself if you take the time out of your busy schedule to, review your assets, educate yourself. And again, if you're not going to do that, then I highly recommend working with someone who will help you to do that.
But okay, you mentioned another important point. I mean, obviously, with the internet, there is, a limitless amount of information that you can begin to educate yourself. And I kind of take it back, Anthony, to a point you made earlier in the show is if you have an advisor who's not comfortable having conversations with you and you don't feel they're being transparent, that's kind of a red flag. Because if you're educating yourself, you want that advisor to kind of be a sounding board, right?
That's the way my best relationships with my clients are. It's a conversation about everything in their financial world and what's happening and just questions about what they're going to do next. How do you position for different market events? How do you position yourself for different events that are coming up in your life? If you're saving for, one of your kids are getting married, or
Right.
you have an education bill coming up, or it's a big vacation for an anniversary that you want to take. All of those things. It's nice to have somebody that can kind of talk through that situation with you and give you, again, be that sounding board and give you some advice on how to position investments to be ready for all those different milestones, essentially, that are coming up.
So here's a question I'm curious about. I've heard, I've seen it, I've come across it. The idea of what is somebody's financial baseline? How would you define that?
I would say a baseline is going to be, so I think identifying cash flow is crucial.
Right.
So what's coming in each month, what's going out, what's your free cash flow, what can be put to work. I think that's one of the most important elements of a financial plan. So that's one piece of information that you need. It's how much do you have in regards to assets, how much have you saved? And then it's going to be, in regards to future lifestyle and objectives that you have, what are they? What are the outflows? How much is education going to cost if you're saving to put your kids through school? How much is your retirement going to cost? And listen, there's a lot of ways to go about education funding, and there are different ways to go about retirement funding. It doesn't just have to be you have a nest egg saved up and it has to cover every penny of retirement. Right. We're living longer and healthier lives, and there are so many opportunities now for retirees to continue to work in the capacity that they're comfortable with. So it's identifying really what all of your assets are, how they're positioned from a tax perspective, what you're invested in, and then what your objectives are coming up. Short-term objectives, purchases of property purchases, education expenses, weddings. Like there's so many things that it could be. And then also what your future needs will be from your investment portfolio. That's going to give you the baseline that you need to figure out to reach your obligations going forward or not.
Right. So this is the 2022 financial fitness
process, but software makes it easy. It's a process, but financial software and financial advisors can make it very easy to digest it all.
Well, you know what it comes down to. As we're talking here today, Anthony, there's no reason for anybody to be ignorant on the topic anymore. There's the information out there that you can research on your own. Then there's people such as yourself. There's financial advisors who are the professionals, who can, help you understand the intricacies of it and make sure you're on track for the long haul. So, again, this is the 2022 Financial Fitness Series. Again, this is something I'm very excited about because the listeners of the Profit Express are the people who spend their entire lives building successful careers, making lots of money. They're the kinds of people who spend their whole life building successful businesses, again, making lots of money. So that's why I'm excited to have the series. I'm excited to have you on, Anthony, to make sure that the listeners have an awareness to say, all right, you know what? I've worked so hard. I've created this amazing business, and I have these dreams for myself, these visions for my family, myself. I want to make sure I get there okay. So I'm super excited. The next one in this series, can you tease us? What's the topic on that?
So for the next topic, we're going to talk about just setting goals, and in addition, we're going to talk about it's just identifying, what your targets are, what your objectives are, how to go about. Like again, goals can be kind of cliche in a way.
Sure.
So how to kind of see past that and really find out what provides meaning for you with your money and what you want to use it to do, and then also just identifying, just creating a cash flow analysis. So that's analyzing the money that's going, again, what you're earning each month and what you can actually put to work and what you're spending and what your free cash flow is. I'll tell you the two biggest components of a strong financial plan. It's number one, it's going to be cash flow analysis, knowing what your numbers are. And two, it's automating things and creating systems for yourself. Because here's what winds up happening. Well, to get a financial plan down and documented takes a little bit of effort, but once you have it in place, maintaining it isn't so difficult. You just have to create systems because we're all busy. We have so many competing interests for time, family, personal interests, business. Like there's so much to do, and you have to automate things so that your investments you're putting investments in place automatically, and you're not waiting for your bank account to overflow before you kind of pick your head up and figure out what to do with it all.
And listen, cash flow is not just for businesses. Cash flow is just as important for individuals and families, obviously. So I'm glad we're bringing that topic up. I'm very excited for the next episode in the series, Anthony. People want to get in touch with you, follow you, learn more about you. What's the best way, Anthony?
Yeah, listen, you could check our website, www.lionheartwealth.com. And that's the easiest way to find us. We're Lionheart Wealth and Ameriprise Financial. And, again, that's the way to, find us on LinkedIn and check out our website.
Excellent. And by the way, I happen to love the lion portrait in the background of your office. That's a nice touch for Lionheart Wealth Management.
My wife's grandma bought it for me last year. So it's a valued addition.
That's a special piece right there. Anthony, thanks so much. And looking forward to the next one.
Sounds good, Tim. Have a good one.
And this has been the Profit Express. And remember to keep an eye out for downloads of great shows like the one you just heard with Anthony DeAngelo of Lionheart Wealth Management. And you can follow me and the show on Instagram at The Profit Express, of course, on Facebook at The Profit Express page, and Twitter on Profit_Express. And until next Wednesday, let's keep winning the battle for business.